Hello and welcome to the video. Today we're going to take a look at the new season basically and how to prepare for that. We're going to take a look here at how I prepare for it, all the things I kind of want to change, all the things I kind of want to build. Pokemon we're going to take a look at. We're going to have here of course on the screen my screen right now, as well as the new ranking, which is going to be quite interesting, so we can kind of go through the Pokemon that are going to be more important for the upcoming season. And this is kind of more of a video where we just talk and see on what we kind of would want to build. A Pokemon like this one would be, for example, interesting, like the Throw, which is going to be better this season with low kick, which I actually have already here as a Shadow as well, a little bit build. It's going to be an interesting Pokemon. But generally speaking, I just kind of want to go through the Pokemon that I feel like are going to be interesting, that we should kind of take a look at. It's going to be mainly focused for the Great League here today. And of course, we kind of want to prepare here for the upcoming season. And one thing, of course, here is going to be the Annihilate. Annihilate is going to be very interesting on how low kick is going to change this Pokemon, because what you kind of want for definitely for this Pokemon as well is going to be Close Comment as a charge moveset, and I want to kind of have maybe both of them. Apparently the non-shadow is quite a bit better, so I have to see on which one I'm going to run. I can just change both of the movesets for those Pokemon, as this is going to be interesting. Even Shadow Ball I could see have a bit of play. Low sweep, absolutely not. What else can you learn? Here Close Comment is going to be the way to go for Annihilate. I think it's going to be an interesting Pokemon. And same goes actually for Gallade. Gallade is a Pokemon I want to take a look at as well for the upcoming season. Here's one with Charm. Of course, we want to run Low Kick, which it also would learn as well. It's kind of cool. But it also learns Psycho Cut as well as Confusion. And here it's also kind of a demonstration of why this TM system might not be the ideal way. We can just TM away for this Pokemon. But this is definitely something you kind of want to at least have to try to get for the upcoming meta. It's kind of cool. It would learn Psycho Cut in theory. There we go. Which is going to be an interesting Pokemon. Again, you see everything on the screen as well at the same time. You see my screen a little bit delayed, by the way, which should be kind of okay, because we're not doing any battles here today as well. Otherwise, here for the other users of Low Kick, there's not really anything too interesting. Halucha is a Pokemon I definitely want to take a look at. I actually hatched two thanks to the event. I got one traded at the EUIC though, and yeah, it doesn't have the best stats, but like this was traded at the EUIC 2023. So yep, that's going to be a Pokemon that I can now use as well again, which is going to be interesting. And there's going to be more updates. The next update, for example, that we can want to take a look for is the Mudshot update. And there are some Pokemon that I really want to focus here as well, as we're going to have something like the Politoed. Politoed are the Pokemon that is like one of my favorite Pokemon currently to run. You want to have Ice Beam because it's very good coverage for this thing. It's going to be able to beat a lot of like the Dragon Pokemon, the Flying type Pokemon. It's kind of exactly kind of what you want to have here for this upcoming meta. But also there are other Pokemon that I find kind of interesting as well. I find Swallowed very interesting with the coverage that you have. You usually don't really want to TM there because you already have that. And yeah, otherwise we're going to have here for that actually Mud Slap was also showing at the same time. I was like confused by Gastron would learn. Of course, the Swampert that we have already seen, but also a Pokemon that comes back again to this meta, which I kind of talked a little bit about as well. It's going to be this one, the Galarian Stunfisk. This Pokemon is going to be better next season. It's going to be quite a bit better now as well, and quite usable because of the type that it has. And what I want to try out as well with this update generally is going to be Toadscrew with the other fast move. We're going to take a look here. Mudshot is going to be what you kind of maybe want to run now. While Mudslap is still recommended here, it says, I do think that Mudshot could be interesting, but I wouldn't want to run Rep. I would want to run the Earth Power in order to have more damage output. Some other interesting Pokemon for this meta are the Pokemon that can learn the move Twister. Twister is going to be a move update that's definitely going to be very interesting and impactful. I actually have this Pokemon here, which is kind of funny, Shadow Hundo, yeah, Flygon. But now we're going to have access to, okay, I can't do that yet. This is a thing as well, by the way. I can only change like those moves. Those moves are not live yet. Those going to be live in like just a tiny bit, literally, like just in a, and at this point when this video is going to be live, most likely in like 20 minutes or something, that's going to be kind of where it's going to be at. But yeah, otherwise we're going to have here some other move updates going to be interesting though, like the Twister update. Flygon of course going to be very interesting. We're going to have Shelgon. We can build a Shelgon already. I have a Shadow Shelgon that I maybe want to build. It's not going to have the best IVs, but there's going to be a lot of different Shelgons that you can, like a lot of Bagons that I have that I can try out. This looks currently the most promising, so I'm gonna see real quick what CP it goes to. But this is the thing as well for the Twister update. There are actually a lot of Pokemon that kind of benefit from it. Gyarados I could actually see also not running Dragon Breath anymore if Waterfall gets buffed to the point where I think it will be buffed to. Then Waterfall might be the better move to go for. But here Shelgon's going to be the better one. The non-Shadow is better than the Shadow version. I do like the Shadow version more. So if I have the opportunity, which I have here, as it's going to have not needing a TM basically. Okay, this one is not really that great. I would definitely try out to get one of those boys. I'm going to try to evolve this one here real quick as well, just to see if this one was better. I could, of course, use IV apps or anything on this, but yeah, basically, Shelgon is going to be the best. Gyarados is still going to be a bit more usable. I'm actually interested in Gabite, but at the end of the day, Gabite is doing kind of similar stuff than what we've seen already with other Pokemon a little bit higher up. So there's not really that much uniqueness towards it, like Shelgon is mostly just the better Pokemon to go for. This Shelgon goes up to also not ideal stats. I'm gonna look through the other ones after this video as well. It's just to kind of showcase which Pokemon you really want to build. From the other ones here, yeah, Waterfall is going to be an interesting update because I do think that Waterfall could have a little bit more play. If it's going to be better than what it says here on PvP, that's currently 9 energy. I do think it's going to be 10 energy. Could be interesting for Empoleon. Could be even interesting for Feraligatr, which I didn't see that it snuck up all the way up to rank 14 again. That's kind of interesting for this Pokemon. But yeah, mainly this, the Seeking could even have some impact with that, as well as Golisopod could have also some play with that. But right now, not really. We don't know what it's going to be at the end of the day. Here's a Pokemon that I really need to have, is though the Slowbro. I'm somehow way too excited for this Pokemon. And funny enough, this is like here, Surf is a legacy move. I still gonna remove it because I rather have Ice Beam as coverage, which is kind of nice for this Pokemon because it helps out with quite a lot of tough matchups. And you won't have Drain Punch on this Pokemon, which now got buffed as well. Slowbro might be meta. I will definitely give this Pokemon a try in the video as well, so stay tuned for that. As otherwise here, we're going to have yeah, the Heatwave update it's not really that impactful. Honestly, the Heatwave update is just going to change a few Pokemon, but here Heatwave is also not in PvPoke the way I expect it to be. PvPoke has 50 energy for it, which I don't think is going to be the case. I think it's 45 energy for it. And if it's 45 energy for Heatwave with the stats that we have here, then it would have more play, have more potential than yeah, what we currently see here, because it's going to be faster with Ember. This thing as well, PvPoke currently doesn't show you all the time exactly what at least I expect. Could be that PvPoke for us is right, but Heatwave is here 50 energy, which would be a very bad move still. 45 is still a bad move, but can help out with pacing in a lot of cases, which would be kind of cool, for example, with the Zapdos, and as well like with the other Pokemon here. The only one that really kind of benefits from it currently would be Togetic, but that is something that we don't know if this is actually going to be the case. Then we're going to have a lot of nerfs here. We have like the Bastion, which you still want to build. You have the Scissor, which is still alright. The Rock Tomb nerf, which barely does anything. Mudslap is going to be a bit more impactful, but otherwise, we're going to have the Wing Attack buff. And this is kind of something that I kind of want to talk a little bit more about, because there are actually quite a few Wing Attack users that are very interesting. Like here, Wing Attack here, we're going to have Pelipper. Pelipper is, I don't know why this comes up like this, because now we can see all the Pokemon have already Wing Attack here. And there are quite a few that can benefit from that. We're going to have here the Mantine, for example. Mantine is going to be interesting. Mantine is going to be, was one of the best Pokemon when Wing Attack first was this strong. They nerfed it as well afterwards. It's not going to be dominating, like Mantine is not going to be dominating because the Aerial Ace got nerfed, and that was one of the biggest reasons why this Pokemon was so strong. It was the reason that you get 2 Aerial Ace super fast, which is not the case anymore, which makes this Pokemon now quite a bit worse. But you have a lot of kind of coverage options here. I do think that Bubble Beam could actually have some play now, as just kind of an annoying move to have on the side in order to kind of manipulate some matchups, trying to debuff them. But what I actually want to take a look at is this Pokemon, Quaquaval, which is kind of funny because this thing has Hydro Cannon, which I can't give you right now here, but I maybe have another one built. There we go. And with Wing Attack now and Hydro Cannon, this Pokemon is an absolute force, which is so funny because nobody is talking about it. And nobody will be talking about it until I make a video. But no, like Quaquaval is going to be very cool. This is the thing here, you have Double Step with Water and Fighting. And this is the thing, for example, here for Quaquaval, it's going to be cool Say So because it's, Water Fighting is a bit more tough, I guess. I guess you have Wicked Tough, but it's also going to be a very good closer, is more what I kind of want to say, because if you get into a position where you can farm down a Pokemon and get energy advantage. Let's take a look at this Pokemon real quick. We're going to give it some wing attack here as well. Let's say 2 advantage, and this Pokemon all of a sudden destroys 34 Pokemon, loses only to 17 in the 1 shield scenario. And then we can go into the 2 shield scenario, where as well you have Hydrocan, which you get super fast to. Like, this Pokemon destroys everything. Like, if you have a bit of an energy advantage, this thing has basically no chill. Like, it destroys everything. And this is where, like, some Pokemon have, like, the hidden abilities in this kind of way, because yeah, this Pokemon itself is going to be so much stronger when you get it set up correctly. Psycho Cut itself also adds another Pokemon that needs to get kind of talked about. There's actually Mewtwo, of course, for the Master League if you really want to. I have my Shondo here, which is going to be a tiny bit better, but still not going to be top meta. But what I more want to talk about is a Pokemon that's very difficult to get, which is Cresselia. Cresselia, I have my good friend the Moonduck here. Was actually around Confusion. I haven't really been playing this Pokemon at all, but I kind of want to take a look at it again. But now with the Psycho Cut update, this Pokemon is definitely one of the ones that you want to take a look at. But also, another Pokemon, and of course a fan favorite, is going to come back as well. I definitely... No, actually, yeah, there it is. The Medicham is going to be a Pokemon here that is going to be very interesting. This thing is going to be able to get quite a lot more play, as you see as well. Being rank 32 is going to make this Pokemon quite more interesting. Other Pokemon here is going to be Aegislash, which is actually a Pokemon that I want to build, definitely. Aegislash here is, I have a very cool U-Blade, this one I want to build as an Aegislash. I will use my Rex Alchemy on this Pokemon. I have quite a few still left, and I really want to build this Pokemon. I'm very excited for this Pokemon, so I want to build it, and so I will build it. As we can now take a look at the next update for this upcoming season. Again, this is kind of more of a guide on what Pokemon you want to build, which Pokemon you don't want to build. This is the thing you see here, which is kind of very unfortunate. It's like the attack availability update that you see here with all the Pokemon there. They're not great. Like, they're honestly not that great. We have the acrobatics update there that's barely going to do anything. Like, I don't know, like Scolipede might be interesting, but I don't think that Scolipede is going to be that great. I expect that this Pokemon is going to get a community day eventually, though. Like, it has a signature move, basically. Heracross is interesting. Heracross is interesting. I, of course, can build it basically already, but this is the only one that I have practically as well. I can give a new move, but actually it's not worth it right now, because if I give a new move now, there's no chance of me getting the move Rock Tomb, which I want to have on it, which is currently not part of it. But this Pokemon is absolutely worth it for both Ultra League as well as the, yeah, Great League. So that's kind of fantastic. It's a very cool Pokemon. I got this one at a trade in London for the Co-Fest. So that was kind of a nice one, especially as it's the female one with a little love heart at the top. The pink Heracross is going to be fantastic for the upcoming season. It's more of a fun Pokemon, don't get me wrong. Like, it's definitely more of a fun Pokemon to run. But Heracross here, if you're going to take a look at it, this thing is going to be quite funny. Like, it's honestly quite funny. It has a lot of good coverage with Upper Hand and Rock Tomb. It just has a lot of play with this moveset. So yeah, this is definitely a Pokemon again that you would want to build for the upcoming season. For the Wormadam, Wormadam is going to be a little bit better with it. We have here this Pokemon. The issue is with Wormadam, you don't have a great charge moveset. We see it here as well if we want to take a look at this Pokemon. A charge moveset, but Buzz Iron Head is just not great. Sucker Punch is going to make it very solid, though. It's going to be definitely an interesting anti-meta pick for this meta. Otherwise, Articuno. Articuno is going to be interesting. That's mostly one of the most promising buffs, other than, of course, Marshadow, but Marshadow is just for Master League. But Articuno is going to be very interesting. I only have a Shadow one. That's my only Great League version of it. You can currently encounter it in the wild, though, so that might be interesting for some of you. But I only have actually... I thought I had a normal one as well, but I only have the Shadow version of this Pokemon available for myself. But they are going to be, yeah, definitely, like, this Pokemon is going to have a lot more play. I have actually enough XL candy to build one for the Master League, which I'm definitely not going to do, but it is what it is. Yeah, otherwise here, we're going to have the Camerupt. The Camerupt is not going to be a very good Pokemon for the upcoming meta. This is going to be kind of clear. It's not going to be very strong. And this is basically already everything that I need to talk about. We had talked about Low Kick, we talked about Mudshot, we talked about Psycho Cut, talked about the Waterfall. Sandtomb is too niche kind of to really have a big update. Like, if you go and take a look, for example, at the Sandtomb users, you have Fortress, which you have built most likely already, and then you have already Gliscor, which is not going to be the craziest Pokemon ever. So, like, Gliscor is going to be a bit tough. I could actually see that Gliscor is going to be better without Wing Attack and with the fast move of Sand Attack. But they have Pedal Sand, which is going to be a tiny bit better. But they're all not going to be too crazy with this move update. It's not going to be too crazy. And then for Drain Punch itself, we already talked about the Slope, bro. Otherwise, nobody really wants to run this. Slowbro wants to run it. The rest, there's no point of really running Drain Punch. The reason why, you want to have a Pokemon that's bulky, and the only bulky Pokemon really on this list is Slowbro. Slowbro is the bulkiest Pokemon on this list as far as I can see that. At least that's what I'm thinking, at least. I don't really see the Pokemon that could be bulkier. And so it has the most amount of impact here. It also gives you coverage against the Dark-type Pokemon, which is kind of cool, as well as normal-type Pokemon, which could come in against you. But yeah, Heat Wave again, I do think it's going to be better than what PvP says. And this is going to be kind of it for my preparation, at least for the season. There's going to be, of course, some other Pokemon that are still going to take a look at that a bit more spicy. Flamigo, for example, is one of the Pokemon that I need to build again, because this is my Great League one I talked about as well. I traded a lot with my girlfriend already. I have actually a very good one here, which is kind of nice. I just caught it. That's fantastic. But yeah, this Pokemon is going to be better now with a Wing Attack as a fast move instead of Double Kick, which is kind of interesting as well. Another buff that's kind of cool here. But yeah, there are going to be a few hidden picks for this meta, but this is kind of going to be it for this video already. We just want to have a bit of a look at the new season for the Great League, at least. If you want to see another video where I prepare for the Ultra League, let me know down below, and I will see you then. Bye bye.